Well, shall we do the breakup?
Well, why don't you do the breakup and then I'll be chippy about it.
So, The Breakup, new Jennifer Aniston movie. Well, actually, no, to be honest, not really the new Jennifer Aniston movie, more the new everybody else in the movie other than Jennifer Aniston. But for the purpose of this, it's a Jennifer Aniston movie with Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn wrote the story. He's also one of the co-producers. It's kind of very much his project, but she's the person who all the publicity has been attached to. And, of course, you cannot have missed, there's been loads of stuff in the tabloids about Jennifer and Vince real on-off, you know, in real life as opposed to in the movie, which is clearly all to do with just puffing the movie. Movie was surprisingly a huge success in America. It's taken over $100 million, which nobody really expected it to do. Story is Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston at the beginning of the movie get together, they become lovers, they move into a flat, and then very early on they start bickering. So we are out of the good bit of the relationship very quickly. And then very early on in the movie, they have a dinner party at which Vince is less than helpful, at which Jennifer is slightly chippy. And after the parents leave at the end of it, they have a great big row, which ends up with them saying, that's it, it's all over, we're not going to speak to each other anymore. But they can't move out of their apartment because the apartment is worth too much. So they end up living in the apartment together despite hating each other. Those who have seen War of the Roses will know this scenario anyway. Now, I went into this expecting to hate it, partly because I hate the poster, which, I don't know whether you've seen the poster, but it's Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston sitting on it.
How can you hate that poster? It's just a couple of people with a line down the middle.
Yeah, but I'll tell you exactly what it is. That poster is a water cooler poster. That is an issue-tainment poster. That is the tagline is, pick a side. And it's one of those posters that says, hey, come and see this movie, and then afterwards have a discussion about which one you side with. Do you side with the bosey old bloke who wants to play pool and drink beer with his buddies, or do you side with the career woman who's actually doing a really good job looking after the house and blah-blah-blah? But and then talk about it at the water cooler the next day at work. It just drives me nuts. Every time I see that poster on the tube, I just want to scream, which is quite a lot. That's a lot of screaming. However, went to see the film, and hey, you know what? It's actually not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. And there are a number of reasons why it's not bad. The first one is that Jennifer Aniston is fairly rubbish in it. I don't think she's a great big screen actress. There is something about her that just doesn't work on the big screen. Apparently she's very good on the small screen. I'm not familiar with her small screen work. I've never seen an episode of Friends. I'm not going to start now. Apparently it's finished anyway.
You've never seen an episode of Friends?
No, why? Why would I watch Friends? I mean, I've heard that terrible theme tune by the Rembrandts. Why would I want to watch the programme? It's a bunch of people, you know, being friends. I mean, I have real friends.
Can I just say, as a TV reviewer, you're not cutting the mustard?
No, but if I want to talk to friends, I'll go next door, or I'll go to the pub. Anyway, moving on. I don't think she's great on the big screen. I've never seen anything with her in that I was really convinced by. And recently she did this kind of strange sub-Fatal Attraction erotic thriller thing in which she played a femme fatale in which she was absolutely terrible. But Vince Vaughn is funny. Vince Vaughn inevitably ends up in movies which are not as funny as him, but he is funny. There is something about the way in which he drags his baggy self around movies, looking for all the world like a slightly overweight, slightly belligerent, slightly difficult, but actually rather funny drunk guy, is entertaining. And in this, you have him and Jon Favreau together. Now, I love the teaming of those two because I was a big fan of Swingers. I actually quite liked Maid as well. Jon Favreau, strangely enough, who, when they made Swingers, Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn both looked like young guys who were kind of quite flash and quite smart. They appear to have grown up in different universes because although their age difference is the same, Jon Favreau has now turned into a guy who is clearly substantially older than Vince Vaughn. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but he's still funny. He plays the guy who runs the bar to which Vince Vaughn goes to pour out his heart, and he's the guy who's your best and your worst friend. Every time Vince Vaughn says he has a problem with his girlfriend, Jon Favreau says it's okay, I'll get someone to kill the guy. And Vince Vaughn says, no, I don't want you to kill him. Yeah, no, good, smart move, but I will do that anyway. And he's all that stuff I like very much. All the stuff with Jennifer Aniston and her side of the bargain, her side of the problem, I have a real problem with because I don't buy Jennifer Aniston. And I think that every minute she's on screen, the emotional involvement drops completely to zero. There are also a couple of gags in it that are rather ill-judged. There is an extended sequence in it to do with waxing, to do with a telesavalis, which this isn't I think the movie's a 12A certificate movie. I just thought, I'm sorry, you're in a whole area here that you don't want to be going into, and worst of all, it's not funny. But for half of the movie, for the half that had Vince Vaughn in it, I was chuckling. And considering how much I expected to think it was a stinker, it's nothing like as bad as I thought. And it has an ending which is not terrible. Apparently they shot another ending, which actually, when I read about it, sounded slightly less terrible, but this is not terrible.